In 1922, F.W. Murnau made the silent horror film Nosferatu, ein Symphonie des Grauens, or the American translation, Nosferatu, a Symphony of Horror. At the time, Bram Stoker's Dracula was still under copyright, and Stoker's estate refused permission for the adaptation. So Murnau changed all the names of the characters, changed the name of Vampyre to Nosferatu, and streamlined the story by focusing on the main plot and getting rid of subplots and side characters. However, this did very little as Stoker's estate still sued and ordered to get every copy destroyed, but luckily one version survived. In April of 1962, the copyright relapsed and Dracula entered the public domain, and now the version could be enjoyed by everyone. Eventually, Werner Herzog, who was a huge fan of the original film, wanted to homage the film with his version of the Dracula story and released Nosferatu Phantom der Nacht, or Nosferatu the Vampire as it's known in America, in 1979. This is indeed a movie. It's very, very strange, but I did like it. It does combine various elements of the silent version with the look and the streamlined story, but it also uses the name from the Stoker novel as well as Herzog using his own flair to make it his own movie. The first 20 minutes or so are a slog to get through, unfortunately. It takes a while for it to get going, and even then it's pretty slow and pretty strange. The acting was rather good from everyone involved, especially from Klaus Kinski, who luckily doesn't go too far into overacting like he easily could have done with a movie like this. Everyone is rather good as well. It does get very artsy at points, with inserts of slow motion bats for no reason, and it does fall into those quote unquote weird foreign film stereotypes. Clearly, Herzog did love the original very much, but also very clearly wanted to make it his own thing. I think it works. However, there are things from the original I did like more. I found the atmosphere to be better, the performance from Max Schreck to be better, and I prefer the lack of sound to be much more interesting. However, I still like the changes that Herzog brought to the table, and the acting from the supporting cast was much better. There were scenes that didn't work, though, like the scene where Harker realizes what Dracula is, and Dracula slowly comes into his room to drink his blood, and Harker puts his hand up. Then it cuts away. This is obviously a direct scene from the original film that works in the original because it was a silent movie. Here it just felt awkward and not scary. You can make the argument he was frozen in fear, but the actor didn't communicate it that well. There were many scenes like that in the film where there is no sound and are lifted from the original. Some work, but many don't, and it only makes me wish I was watching the original more. However, similar with the Crazies, it is better made than the original, but in this case, it's because filmmaking had evolved so much since that point rather than the limitations of budget, which was also an issue, but less so. It's just one of those strange concoctions of film that needs to be seen to be believed. But in terms of which one I prefer, that's a tough one because there are many things that I think this film does better, while there are many things the original did better. It's a companion piece to the original that would be fun to watch back to back. I very much recommend both, if you can deal with the slow pacing of the latter.